So here we are, September 22nd again, looking at the price action and watching it develop. So I had this trend line drawn in here, and I initially had a short position through here. I believe it was right there, so I can mark that off. Um, and because of what I was seeing on the hourly, I actually closed out of that position. I saw this candle form and it closed, so I exited for minus 3 pips. And then I was watching the 15-minute chart and kind of watching the 5-minute as well. And I watched the price come in here, get rejected, and then I saw this nice clean candle to the upside. So I kind of told myself that I would wait for this line right here to, get broken in a 15-minute time frame, so I could close above it. And at that point, I would consider that a trend continuation, right? Because you have a higher swing at that point. But one of the things that I saw on the 15-minute was I saw the close here, and I noticed that the close was higher than the previous closes in this range. So at that point I kind of entered a long position. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. In the past, I haven't really paid too much attention, but I do think that when I have seen this, it has worked out fairly nicely. Again, time frame does matter. So this is a 15-minute, which I kind of felt was maybe enough. We'll find out, really quick if I get stopped or not. But using like the 4-hour, the 1-hour, I can kind of see that there is some bullish action here. Now, if price does manage to break this point, at that point I want to be a short again because we're putting in a lower swing, and I'll probably expect to take profit down here at this support level. But as it stands right now, it looks like price is coming down pretty hard, so I'm wrong. And I definitely got in early here. I should have waited for the 15-minute to come up and close above this level, or some sort of 5-minute action like this, where you have a break above, retest and a push above again. So one thing that was kind of cool here that I noticed was if I did put in the line here at the closes, this is being the highest close that we saw so far, we had to push down, and we did have some sort of a retest here, and buyers managed to push price back up. So even if if this was perhaps this line up here, this is what I would want to see, which would encourage me to enter a long position. But of course, because we still are below this swing point, by definition, I guess buyers weren't enticed enough to fully get long and start buying this thing up. So does that mean it won't work? I don't know, but we'll find out. So I'm in this trade right now, and I'm going to watch this and see how this plays out. I know I have this level right here coming through here, and I know that should be support to some degree. Right, you can see, it's roughly, it's not to the pip exactly, but roughly you can see that we had a high here, then bounce here, and then we had this swing point, and then here again. So when we come down, we have a trend line coming up, and also the support level. So we should see some buyers come in here and push this thing up. So we'll see. I'm going to pause the video and get back when price does manage to either move down there or blow through the highs. One more thing I want to point out here was the 15-minute. If we look, we had this nice candle form, which we took the entry off of. The candle following that was actually a inverted hammer or a doji, showing that there's not too much buying pressure here. So it really gets into the time value, because as you move up in time frame, you have more time, which essentially gives it more value in some sense. But on the lower time frames, you essentially have more information, but there is more noise. So 15-minute, kind of being in between, where the 5-minute would, I would consider more of a noise time frame, but more information, and the hourly being more, more of time value. 15 minutes kind of a little bit tough, but it's right here, right in front of us. The failure to make that higher high and close above resulted in some selling. Not by much so far, but we don't know how far down it will go. So, at this point, 7 pips, but we'll see. But that's, that was an early indication in this trade that, hey, maybe things weren't going as well as we would have liked. And, one more thing I want to start watching is Fibonacci's. So if we go from this low to this high, trying to get an idea of, hey, are buyers holding this thing up? But, the important thing to understand here is that, yes, there's Fibonacci, but there's also some support in here. So, one thing that I've noticed from my trading is that a lot of times Fibonacci traders will say, hey, 50% is holding. Never exactly, roughly this area, but 8 times out of 10, there's going to be some sort of support in that area as well, which could also account for the same bounce. But so we'll watch this and then we'll get back to it in a bit. All right, so I'm back here. Not too much happening on the euro, just kind of dwindling down. But one thing that kind of caught my eye while I was looking at this was the let's have a look here, the dollar yen. And I've entered a long position on there as well. So, the idea being, I was watching this a little bit earlier in the day when US had closed, and I saw a very kind of, sideways price action. But, if we take it to a daily chart, you can kind of see what's going on here. I had this level right here marked off as support. Price came down, touched it, and then we were traced very nicely, right? And also, if we look at the weekly chart, kind of get the same idea. Very big rally at the end of the week last week, and we had some longs on the downside. So, with the Bank of Japan coming in and doing some quantitative easing to, because essentially the currency is getting too strong, I would imagine we do see some sort of follow through as these big funds start to adjust and whatnot. And we had a good amount of that right here. This is a huge one-day move, but 250 pips in one day on the dollar yen is absolutely huge. But anyways, we can see that price did push up, and it was coming down to retest these levels. So this was a level that I had marked off initially. You can see where we closed in that 4 hour, and then some buyers came in. That by itself would not have been enough for me to enter position. But if we do look at something like this halfway back, something for Fibonacci traders can say, hey, it's right there. But again, look, we have 50%. We have the support level, so it's really a question of, okay, which one is holding? And you can make your own decision on that one. But looking at this on a lower time frame, at the time we had this push up, then this candle right here. So I kind of told myself, okay, if we can see price, break, essentially close above this level on a 15-minute basis, then that's something I'll be interested in. So, I was looking at this now, and that's what we got. We had an hourly. You can take a look here. You can see we had a nice pop through, close on the line, and then if this can hold this, there's still 30 minutes left in this hourly candle, but if that can hold, I think it'd be a good indication that there's some buying pressure here. Moving to a 15-minute, you can draw on this trend line right here. Tag that, came up nicely, essentially pushed through, formed a nice reversal bar on support. So I do like this trade. The stop is going to go right here. So a very small stop, about 10 pips, and at least it's a 17 pips or so upside potential before first resistance, and then some more resistance up here, which is about 30 pips away or so. So good risk to reward ratio there. On that one, and the euro you can see is trying here to curl over, so we'll see what happens there. But essentially treating both of these trades independently, where in the past I would have looked at correlation a little bit, but those, as an intraday trader, this stuff breaks down all the time. So this video is becoming a little bit long, so probably what I'll do is I'll cut this one off and create another one to follow up on what we're seeing. So get back to you in a bit. Thanks for watching.